San Francisco's streets were unusually quiet for the afternoon. Too quiet. The sun burned through the smog, casting long shadows between the towering buildings. Clint Eastwood, better known as Inspector Harry Callahan, had seen enough crime in this city to know when trouble was brewing. And today, trouble had a name. The radio crackled in his unmarked squad car. All units, be advised. 211 in progress at First National Bank. Suspects armed and dangerous. Proceed with caution. Harry exhaled slowly, his jaw tightening. Another damn robbery. He flicked on the sirens and hit the gas, weaving through traffic. By the time he reached the bank, it was already a war zone. Broken glass littered the pavement. Civilians huddled against police cruisers. A hostage situation was unfolding. Then, in the middle of the chaos, one suspect broke loose. A wild-eyed man with a sawed-off shotgun sprinting out of the bank and into the street. His mask was gone, revealing a desperate, sweating face. He had a hostage, a terrified woman, barely able to stand from fear. Harry stepped out of his car, slow and deliberate, his .44 Magnum already in his hand. "Let her go," Harry said, voice calm but laced with steel. The robber swung the shotgun toward him, panting, "Back off, cop!" "I swear to God I'll blow her head off." Harry didn't flinch. He had played this game before, and he never lost. "That's a real bad idea," Harry said. "You know why?" The criminal's grip tightened on the woman, his knuckles white. "Because," Harry continued, taking a single step forward, "you're out of luck." The street was dead silent. The only sounds were the distant wail of sirens and the ragged breathing of the gunman. Sweat dripped down his forehead as he held the shotgun against the woman's temple. His eyes darted between Harry and the dozen cops behind him, their guns drawn. But Harry was the only one who mattered. "I swear, man, I'll do it," the thug shouted, his voice shaking. "I'll blow her brains out." Harry took another slow step forward, his .44 Magnum steady in his grip. His expression never changed, cold, unreadable. "Maybe," Harry said. "But do you really want to bet your life on it?" The gunman swallowed hard. He knew Dirty Harry's reputation. The stories about how Callahan never hesitated, about how he always pulled the trigger when it counted. "You're bluffing," the thug muttered, shifting his grip on the shotgun. Harry tilted his head slightly. "Am I?" Then, in a move so fast it barely registered, Harry's Magnum roared. Boom! The shot didn't hit the gunman, but it was close enough. It shattered the curb inches from his foot, sending up a spray of concrete. The robber flinched, his body jerking backward in instinctive terror. And that half-second of hesitation was all Harry needed. The hostage broke free. The thug barely had time to react before Harry's gun was trained squarely on his face. "Now," Harry said, stepping closer, his voice a low growl. "I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? The robber froze, his entire body trembling. "Well, to tell you the truth," Harry continued, his gaze locked onto the man like a predator sizing up its prey. "In all this excitement, I kind of lost track myself." The street was dead quiet. Every cop, every civilian, even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Harry cocked the hammer back. "But being this is a .44 Magnum," he said, voice smooth as steel, "the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off. You gotta ask yourself one question." The robber's mouth went dry. "Do I feel lucky?" A long pause. "Well?" Harry's voice dropped to a whisper. "Do you, punk?" The thug's grip on the shotgun faltered. His breath came in short, uneven gasps as his mind raced. Was Harry bluffing? Was there still a round in that chamber, waiting to splatter his brains across the pavement? He glanced at the cops behind Harry. None of them moved. No one spoke. They weren't going to save him. His hands trembled. Harry didn't blink. Didn't move. He just stood there. 44, magnum aim right between the bastard's eyes, waiting. Sweat poured down the gunman's face. The whole world had shrunk to just this moment. His own pulse hammered in his ears. Finally, the weight of it all became too much. The shotgun clattered onto the pavement. The thug's knees buckled as he raised his hands. Okay, don't shoot, man! I give up! His voice cracked as fear took hold. Harry exhaled slowly, lowering his weapon just an inch. The officers behind him rushed forward, tackling the suspect to the ground. Handcuffs snapped into place. Briggs, one of the detectives, shook his head as he approached Harry. Jesus, Callahan, that was a hell of a gamble. Harry holstered his gun. Not really. Briggs raised an eyebrow. You mean... Harry smirked. Gun was empty. The thug, now face down on the pavement, overheard and went pale. You were bluffing? Harry shrugged. What do you think? The thug's eyes widened in horror as the realization set in. He had just bet his life on a coin flip and lost. Harry gave him one last look, then turned and walked away. Another scumbag off the streets. Another long day in San Francisco. Harry walked toward his squad car, the tension still hanging in the air like smoke after a gunfight. The crowd that had gathered slowly began to disperse, murmuring in awe at what they had just witnessed. Briggs caught up with him. You know, one of these days that act of yours is gonna backfire. Harry opened the car door but didn't get in just yet. He took a deep breath, watching as the officers stuffed the gunman into the back of a cruiser. The punk still looked shaken, like a man who had just stared into the abyss and found it staring back. You know what, Briggs? Harry said, eyes never leaving the scene. Maybe, but today ain't that day. Briggs chuckled, shaking his head. Damn, Callahan. You really are one crazy son of a bitch. Harry didn't respond. He just slid into his car, turned the key, and drove off into the city streets. Another case closed, another criminal taken down. Just another day for Dirty Harry.